Yeah, that's a pretty common question that we get, especially in a day when so many programs are transitioning to online options. So you can go to college these days, in some cases, without ever setting foot on the actual campus that you're attending. And there's a kind of a bigger question that's behind this that I think is really important, and that's a question of have you considered how much disruption that there is in transitioning from high school to college? And I think that a lot of students and their families maybe underestimate the amount of disruption as you move from high school to college. Imagine for a minute that you go away to college and think about how many things are going to change. So, first of all, you're going to change cities. You're going to go to a new city, a new place. You're going to have to learn your way around. You're going to have to maybe learn, could be part of a new culture and a new climate, depending on how far away that you go. You probably don't know many people. Maybe you do, but even if you went to a college and you know some folks from home that are going to the same college, you're probably going to be interacting with a lot of new people. The workload and scholarship that's involved in college, the academics are a lot different. In high school, teachers are a little bit more lenient. They're probably going to help you keep track of your assignments and kind of walk with you through that. In college, a lot of times you're handed a syllabus on the first day, and the professor is expecting you to get the job done, to keep track of those assignments and get them turned in and on time. And the workload is simply heavier and harder. If you even if you had a robust high school education and worked really hard in high school, if you're doing it right, you should still be stepping it up and learning more when you get to college. And if you feel like you're just coasting and it's college is way easier than high school was for you, you probably picked the wrong college. You're not getting your money's worth out of your education. So that's another big disruption is you're just going to have to work harder and more is going to be expected of you. And then, of course, there's the question of church. If you go away to college, you're going to need to find a new church. That's a huge transition. And a lot of times, college students think, well, I'm going to go, I'm sure there will be a fine church there. And they might spend their first semester or their first year or their first 2 years or maybe their entire college experience trying to find a church that is anything like the sweetness of the fellowship and the familiarity that they enjoyed at their church at home. And that can be very, very difficult. Preaching style might be different. Worship style might be different. You got to meet people, and maybe you're going to try to find a small group to attend. How do you do all that stuff? Big disruptions all around. So, the way that we try to serve students and families with this at Trinity College is that we offer the first year of our program, we call it the bridge year. We offer that as a distance or as a local option. And so what that means is the bridge year, it's the same as the freshman year of our 4-year program, but some students take it as a 1-year standalone program. They do it for 1 year and they receive a certificate at the end of that year, and then they go on to do whatever they're going to do next, maybe a more technical degree or go into the trades or whatever it is. But we offer the bridge year as a distance program, and for a couple of reasons. One important reason for that is it helps to stagger those disruptions that come with the transition from high school to college. It allows you to stay connected. A student can stay connected to the discipleship and church life and family life that they've enjoyed growing up and be a part of all of that. They get to maintain all of that discipleship and everything that's happening there with family and church while then still beginning to branch out and experience a new season of life educationally, academically. So students can join us for classes online. The technology is pretty amazing. It's not exactly the same as being together physically in the classroom, but it's pretty close. We've got huge TVs in our classrooms. We've got great microphones and cameras so that our students are able to see and hear what's happening in the classroom, raise their hand and participate, speak up, maybe read a paper, answer a question as if they were there in the classroom with us. And that's a huge benefit. So it's kind of the best of both worlds for some students. For some students, it's a huge blessing to be able to do it that way. Now, for other students, maybe the best step for them is to actually transition to Louisville, move to Louisville, and be a part of this thing in person. And so some students are ready for that. They've said, I'm prepared for those transitions and those disruptions. I can take it, and I'm looking forward to how the Lord is going to use that to help me to grow to be more like Jesus Christ. Then great, then come to Louisville. And the natural next question then becomes, where am I going to live? We're a small college. We're a new college. We don't have dorms. We don't ever intend to build dorms. Instead, we want to treat our students like adults and put them in a situation where they're going to have to interact with families or with other students as adults and learn to navigate the real world and not just be shoved into a big building with a bunch of other students in a dorm. And so we have a number of families at Sovereign Grace Church of Louisville who have said, I would love to host a student for their year here at Trinity College. And maybe they've got an extra bedroom or they've got a walkout basement or something like that. And so they've said, look, hey, send me a student, maybe two students. And these families will take in our student for the year. And many times the student becomes part of the family, sometimes enjoying meals together, even doing activities, fun things on the weekend, that sort of thing. It's a wonderful setup. And our students who have done that have really enjoyed and benefited from that. And when students apply and get accepted to Trinity College, one of the next steps for them is we begin thinking and praying about who would be the right family to host this student. So it's also natural then that students or parents might ask next, how much does that cost? What is rent like with a family? And the fact is, I don't get right in the middle of those things. Trinity College, we will connect students with host families and then let the students and the host families work it out from there. So they'll work through what is the rent going to be like? Are there any sort of chores or other responsibilities they're expected of the student while they're staying there? What are meals going to be like? Where's the parking arrangement? All that sort of thing. They just work that out together. We're happy to do that. Now, as we continue to grow, I also expect that students will begin to get apartments with one another. And we're excited to see that develop. There's some great, relatively inexpensive apartment complexes very close to the church building where Trinity College meets. So it could be some really great options there. Now, if you have questions about any of this, or you're still wondering, how is this going to work? You want to know more? I am very happy to schedule a personal consultation. And we can get on a phone call or a Zoom together and answer all your questions. Be happy to tell you more about it. There's also a lot more information available on our website, trinitycollegelou.com. So check it out there. If you don't get the questions answered, reach out to us. We also hope you'll visit us either virtually or in person for a campus visit. So you can join us, sit in on a class over Zoom, or we would love it if you can make your way to Louisville and spend a day or even a couple days with us, sitting on class, participating in student activities, and seeing what a week in the life of Trinity College is really like. Thanks so much for joining us. trinitycollegelou.com.